Hi, I'm Anne Pollard, and this is the reading of my book, Cleo's Fabulous Adventures, The Realm of the Woods. Chapter 21, Sachael the Snake. Cleo was feeling more joyous and peaceful than she ever had before. The smile on her face told the whole story. Bacchus was so happy for her. He said, "Cleo, what just happened is really nothing short of life-changing. I can see it in your smile and in your eyes. I'm truly happy for you." "Thank you, Bacchus," said Cleo. "I feel so amazing. It's like a veil has been lifted. I know I have found the peace that you said you could help me find. Thank you again. And to also know and see Zuriel is just out of this world. I had no idea what I didn't know. Thank you again, Zuriel, for saving my life. I love you so much." Bacchus smiled and said, "I think we could use a warmer climate now. Shall we proceed?" Cleo nodded. The path opened up before them as it always did, but this time it seemed more luminescent. Thought Cleo, another change. They turned to the path and began to make their way. Zuriel followed closely to Cleo. The sparse landscape they were in was transforming into a warm, arid field. The sun was out, and it felt so wonderful. A few trees dotted the landscape, and there was a lot of grass and small bushes interspersed. The air felt dry and warm. There was a breeze blowing, and sounds of nature all around them. It was a stark difference to the snowy mountain. Bacchus came upon a small bush and stopped. Cleo did the same, awaiting the next part of their adventure. It was only a minute before they saw it coming towards them, a black snake. It was over 7 feet long, and it glided over the terrain with ease. Weaving back and forth, it crawled to Bacchus and Cleo. When she saw it, Cleo let out a scared little quiet yelp. "Oh, I hate snakes," she thought. "Ooh!" Bacchus chuckled to himself. "Hello, Sachael," he said. "Hello, Bacchus," said Sachael. "And this is Cleo. So nice to finally meet you, Cleo." Cleo gathered every ounce of courage and composure that she could, and quietly said, "Hello, Sachael." Sachael was a large snake with shiny black scales that glistened in the sun. His eyes were pitch black as well, and didn't seem to be as sinister as Cleo would have imagined. His forked tongue flicked in and out of his mouth as he spoke. He coiled up into a tall spiral so he could see them better. Cleo cringed. "Cleo," said Sachael, "I understand how you feel about snakes, and I would never mean to make you uncomfortable in any way. I am not a poisonous snake, and I would never ever do anything to hurt you." Cleo sighed and said, "Thank you, Sachael. I don't know where this fear comes from. I have never been harmed by a snake, and I'm sure you're really nice, or Bacchus would not have let you come." Sachael and Bacchus laughed. Sachael said, "Snakes have had a bad rap for a really long time. Some of that goes back more than 13,000 years. The earth was getting ready to go into a cycle of separation from all that is. It was beginning to go to sleep for a very long time, at least according to your Earth years. There were many beings from the galaxy on Earth at the time, and some of them were from Sirius, and they brought light energy as well as dark energy. That's neither good nor bad, it was just the polarity of what was playing out on Earth at the time. The Sirian dark energy was associated to snakes and serpents. There were many mystery schools on Earth, and some of those were hijacked for darker purposes. So you see, snake energy became associated to the dark energy, and it still carries that very old signature. And then some of your religions cast us as a demon. We were seen as evil and portrayed the very embodiment of temptation. So most of your fear is actually born from very old group consciousness, and it's very widespread. I bet if you ask 100 people about snakes, 90% of them would be scared or even terrified of snakes, but would never have even had one bad encounter with them. But in reality, snakes are really beneficial to the earth and to humans. We help keep the population of rodents to a manageable level and minimize their ability to spread disease. And only about 10% of snakes are venomous, and that's so they can catch their prey, which is normally not humans. Wow, said Cleo, now I feel sorry for you. I had no idea that stuff so old could still impact me and the world today. I guess I still have a lot to learn. Sachael said, please don't feel sorry. We accepted this a long time ago and have no issues with it. It is a human fear after all, nothing that impacts us. And you're always learning, Cleo. The more you learn, the more you clarify your inner self. It never ends. And that's the really cool part about the universe. You can see things in a new light and continue to reconnect with your true, authentic self. Yes, I can see that, said Cleo. Look how much I have just learned now. It really is an amazing game and adventure. I am curious about so many things now, and the day-to-day annoyances don't seem so big anymore. And that adventure is now taking a whole new form, said Sachael. Just like Israfel said, you're shedding an old layer of skin. The old parts of you, the beliefs that don't really serve you any longer, are being shed and a newer you is emerging. And that is what snake spirit can help you with. So Sachael asked Cleo, how do I know if a belief is not serving me anymore? Sachael replied, you will know because of your awareness, Cleo. It is so important that you notice everything that happens in your reality, because you're creating all of it. Notice in the things that you say to others. Notice in the things they say to you. Notice in the people that are drawn into your reality. Notice the things that happen in your life. Remember that everything is reflecting in your mirror. Nothing is chance. It is all seen through the filter of your beliefs. And most of those beliefs have been with you for so long, they're like an autopilot. You're not even aware of the influence that they're having on your reality. So you must continue to observe everything. And then, when you see what's in the mirror, with no judgment, you can choose to keep that belief or undo that belief. And there's no right or wrong here. Remember, that's human ego and duality that judges something as right or wrong, good or bad. When you can see everything instead as an experience with no judgment, then you're free to make clear choices in what you want and what you don't want in that moment. And then you shed another layer. It sounds like it all goes back to the audience, said Cleo. Sachael nodded in agreement. It's a wonderful way to play your game. And remember something else, and here you can take your cue from snakes. Just as we remain close to the ground, so should you. Grounding is also so important for you as you continually move through the changes in your life. And I think you've learned a lot about staying grounded, right? Oh yes, said Cleo. I think my favorite way is still walking in the woods, but now I know I can also stay grounded through stillness. Your wisdom is impressive, Cleo, said Sachael, and I hope that you will also shed your fear of snakes. We really are very compassionate beings. Oh, and we aren't slimy either. Would you like to touch my body and see? Cleo let out a nervous laugh and cringed again, just slightly. Then she thought about Lakshmi and her courage, and she started to look at Sachael from the audience. If this fear is really something that's come from others, then maybe I don't need to choose that belief any longer, she thought. As she saw the fear from a different perspective, she relaxed and took a breath. You know what, Sachael, she said, I think I would like to do that. Sachael smiled, flicking his tongue in and out. He slowly uncoiled, and his long body was now completely on the ground. He moved slowly toward Cleo so that she could reach him. His body was quite amazing and flexible as he shifted from side to side along the ground. It did not take him long to reach Cleo. You can touch my head or my body, Cleo, said Sachael, whatever you're most comfortable with. Cleo tentatively reached out and put her hand on Sachel's body right behind his head. Instead of feeling something slimy, Cleo felt Sachel's body as warm and dry. It was very firm to the touch. She was surprised how different it felt than when she imagined it would be. She smiled and said, "Wow, Sachel, it's not what I was expecting at all." Sachel laughed, and Cleo could feel the laugh ripple through his body. Cleo removed her hand. "Thank you, Sachel," she said, "for helping me overcome my fear." "You're very welcome," said Sachel. "That was as good as a release ceremony." "What do you mean, a release ceremony?" asked Cleo. Sachel said, "A wise shaman and friend, Dr. S, told me about a ceremony that you can do to help release things that don't feel serve you any longer. Would you like to hear more about it?" he asked. "Yes," said Cleo, "I would love to know more." "Okay," said Sachel. "First decide something specific that you want to let go of. For example, let's say you want to release the anger you have towards your boss about selling her company. With a sincere intention, write it on a piece of paper. The wording is specific. Phrase it as, "I choose to release." So it might read something like, "I choose to release the anger I have toward my boss for selling her company." Now you need to go find something in nature that will assist you with the release. Go out and find something that speaks to you, like a rock or a twig. Then ask the object if it will be willing to help you and serve as your effigy. If you get a clear signal of yes, then keep it. If not, find something else until you feel you've found the right thing. Take the object home with you and wrap the piece of paper that you wrote your intention on around it and leave it on your bedside table overnight. When you go to bed, say a prayer of gratitude for your spirit guides to help you dream into the paper and the object what you are releasing. You may even have dreams about it that night. The following day, go back into nature and find a favorite tree. Ask the tree if it will be willing to help you do your release ceremony. If the answer is yes, then dig a hole at the base of the tree. That is the grave. Thank your spirit guides, Grandmother Moon, the tree, and tree spirit. Then read the words on your paper out loud and rewrap the object with the paper. Remember the intention, hold it in your heart, and gently blow your intention into the paper and the object. Finally, put the paper and the object into the grave and light it on fire. Watch the flames and smoke rise up to Sky Father. After it's burned completely, bury the ashes and the object. Then say a final prayer of thanks. You can also include an offering to the tree, something like sage or sacred tobacco. Then observe what happens over the next day or two and watch for anything that comes to you in your dreams. Watch the magic happen. "That sounds really good," said Cleo. "Thank you. I will definitely do that when I get back." Bacchus and Azrael smiled, seeing Cleo's excitement about the release ceremony. Bacchus looked at Sachel and said, "Thank you, Sachel. What a wonderful way to end our visit. We're honored to have spent this precious time with you." "It was my gift and pleasure," said Sachel. "Cleo, I hope Snake Spirit Wisdom has opened your eyes to new and wonderful things. We are all here for you always and every moment. You only need to ask for our help, and we will be there." Cleo smiled and said, "Thank you, Sachel. I have learned a lot, and I appreciate what you've taught me." Sachel flicked his tongue and turned his head back to the bush. His body followed as he swerved left and right, moving silently along the ground. In a few minutes, he was completely out of sight. Thank you for joining me. Have a fabulous day.